Good morning, and welcome to Theodore Parker Universalist Unitarian Church. My name is Jake, my pronouns are he, they, and I've been attending TPC for about a year now. As we enter into worship, we bring with us all of the sorrows and joys of our week, and we know that here we are held in loving community. Here we are reminded that we are a part of something larger than ourselves. Here we seek to counter oppression, to work for healing and justice in a bruised and broken world. Here we invite all of you to bring your perspectives, your beliefs and doubts, and all that is unique and wondrous about you to our service. In the spirit of love, all are welcome here. For those joining us in person, a few things you may want to know. Our congregation is mask optional, and if you would like to be seated in an area where others are also masking, this section on that side under the old windows is reserved for people wearing masks. You can use the QR codes in your pews to access the order of service, which will also be on the Zoom slides, hopefully. If you need a large print copy, they are at either entrance. Our service today is being recorded, so if you'd like to watch it again to get more out of it, it will be available on YouTube later. If you would like to have a joy or concern shared today with the congregation during our meditation and prayer, we invite you to fill out a card anytime before our meditation hymn on the table to your right. You may also light a silent candle of joy or concern at any time during our worship service. There's also a space in the back far corner for private reflection with water and stones at any time during the service. People of all ages are welcome to move around the sanctuary as they need to, or to make themselves comfortable in the cozy zone in front of the first pew. Today we invite children to be with us throughout the whole service. We also do have childcare available in the nursery for the under fours, located in the parish hall just through the breezeway. Many thanks today to Mary Beth, who is our camera point person for all the tech difficulties we're having, and to Ruth, who is our Zoom usher. If you are new to Theodore Parker Church, or just visiting today, we would love to stay in touch and get to know you. You're invited to fill out a connection card, which you'll find in your pew with the hymnals, which gives you an opportunity to sign up for our weekly updates and lets us welcome you. A link to the connection card will also be in the chat, and you can visit our website at any time.
Not your back. 400 primary care from the
prelude this morning was Amandine by J.S. Bach. Thank you very much, Yukiko. My name is Tom Keydel. My pronouns are he, him. I've been coming to TPC since 2010, and I am currently a member of the Music and Worship Committee. Since Reverend Heather and Rose are off today, Jake and I will be leading the service in their absence. Today's opening words are from Linda Barnes. Suspended between all that was and all that might be, we struggle to find this very moment, to live this very moment. Let us sit together for a moment and savor this moment. Let us relish this in-between time when past meets future. Let us harbor a faith that reminds us that right now, right here, is enough. Please join me now in our opening hymn, number 1053, How Could Anyone?
And now I'm going to invite Allison and Daphne up to light our chalice. As Universalist Unitarians, we light this chalice each week as a signal of the light of reason, the light of faith, and the light of community brings into our lives. As we light it, please join with me in saying our shared covenant, once in English and once in Spanish, in honor of our sibling community in Pazuelas, El Salvador. The words will be on the screen. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its prayer. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. El amor es el espíritu de esta iglesia, y el servicio es nuestra oración. Esta es nuestra gran promesa, vivir juntos en paz, buscar la verdad con amor y ayudarnos los unos a los otros. Today also marks the first Sunday of the season of Advent. In the Christian tradition, Advent is a time of preparation toward Christmas, the arrival of Jesus Christ in the world. And I think it's fitting today that we are talking about angels. Angels meaning messengers, ones who bring messages of what shall be, of what we are waiting for, of what we hope for. As Universalist Unitarians during Advent, we ask, what are you waiting for? What are you preparing for in your life and in the world? We light candles each of the 4 Sundays. The first candle for hope, the second for peace, the third for joy, and the fourth candle for love. This morning, we light the first purple candle for hope.
As we deepen into a space of meditation and prayer, I invite you to enter into this moment, here and now. Feel the earth's gentle gravity holding you. Take a few nurturing breaths and give yourself over to this time of stillness. If you are here in the sanctuary and would like to include a joy or concern this morning, you can fill out a prayer card during the centering hymn. If you are joining us on Zoom today and you wish to share a joy or concern during the time of meditation and prayer, I invite you to type that into the chat now. I now invite you to remain seated and to join in singing our centering hymn, Spirit of Life, number 123. Our joys and concerns this morning include one from Carol Allen, a joy for another uplifting music on center concert, and appreciation to all of you who make this outreach to our community possible. Another from Priscilla Wren, a concern for my friend's daughter, Jackie, who has been struggling with cancer for some years now. Gratitude for the years she has had without cancer. For all those joys and sorrows and concerns, for all those remaining unspoken in the sanctuary in our hearts, we light one final candle. Let us join together in a space of prayer and meditation. Jezebel Annette writes these words: "Let us come into calm, clear place where we can relinquish our clutter and relax from the busyness into being, where we can breathe in peace and center ourselves in love. Together, let us rest into several moments of shared silence, followed by our musical meditation." Our first reading today is a short two-person scene from Part 2 of Angels in America, the 1990s drama about AIDS in America. One character, Pryor, is a gay man with AIDS, and Harper is a hill-popping housewife who hallucinates because of her addiction. The two characters have never met, and they are meeting for the first time inside a hallucination. Harper is Mormon. Pryor is Jewish.
Are you? Who are you?
Who are you?
What are you doing in my hallucination?
I am not in your hallucination. You're in my dream.
You're wearing makeup.
So are you. I'm a homosexual.
Oh, in my church, we don't believe in homosexuals.
In my church, we don't believe in Mormons.
What church do... Oh. Huh, I get it. I don't understand this. If I didn't even see you before, and I don't think I did, then I don't think you should be here in this hallucination, because this is my experience. The mind, which is where hallucinations come from, shouldn't be able to make up anything that wasn't there to start with, that didn't enter from experience from the real world. Imagination can't create anything new, can it? It only recycles bits and pieces from the world and reassembles them into visions. Am I making sense right now?
Given the circumstances, yes.
So, when we think we've escaped the unbearable ordinariness and the untruthfulness of our lives, it's really only the same old ordinaries and falseness rearranged into appearance of novelty and truth. Nothing unknown is knowable. Don't you think it's depressing?
The limits of the imagination?
Yes.
It's something you learn after your second theme party. It's all been done before. This month, our theme of presence honors our need for wholeness and quiet reflection. As we give of ourselves today, we renew our commitments to one another and to this congregation's growing and changing life. We give so we might remember we are a part of something bigger than ourselves. And by simply being here, we renew our connection to an ever-widening circle of being. It is with gratitude for all that we have been given and with the faith that we have more than enough when we are together that we give today. We ask that you give both your presence, your care, and any financial support that you are able. Links to donate will be in the chat and on the screen, and ushers will be coming around if you wish to give a physical donation via cash or check. And Yukiko will be playing for us Sarabande from the French Suite No. 1 by Johann Sebastian Bach.
Our second reading today is another short scene from Angels in America Part 2. The setting is the diorama room at the Mormon Visitor Center in Brooklyn. In this scene, Harper, the same character from our earlier reading, is hallucinating again. And this time, the fictional Mormon mother figure, that is, one of the mannequins from the diorama, is suddenly available to speak to her. Since Harper is Mormon herself, she wants to better understand her heritage as a Mormon woman. Mormon mother is a frontier woman who understands life from a perspective far removed from Brooklyn in the 1990s.
Was it a hard thing crossing the prairies?
Oh, you ain't stupid, so don't ask stupid. Ask something for real.
In your experience of the world, how do people change?
Well, that has something to do with God, so it's not very nice. God splits open the skin with a jagged thumbnail from throat to belly, and then thrusts in a huge, filthy hand and grabs a hold of your bloody tubes, and they slip and slide trying to get away, and he squeezes, he insists. Then he pulls and pulls till all your innards are yanked out. And the pain, we can't even talk about that. Then he stuffs them all back, dirty, tangled, and torn. You do all the stitching.
And then get up, walk around?
Just mangled guts pretending.
That's how people change.
Do you feel it? Do you feel the change that Advent creates? Look around. Do you feel a sense of deeper presence? That right here, right now, your being, just exactly as you are, is enough? Look for a moment at the angel behind me. The expansiveness of our presence, arms forward, wings apart, walking on water at the dawn of a new day, calm, centered. As a prophet, she knows us, each one of us. She's here to give us what we most need. To me, she says, being here is enough. Her presence fills me with a sense of great anticipation. She wants me to discover the verities and realities of my deepest wishes, and she is willing to wait while I think about that. A beautiful messenger, and yet much of the time we often don't give her much thought. We never let ourselves wrestle with who she might want us to become. And in some ways, that is my message to you today. Presence is a beautiful messenger, one who slips past our awareness until we learn to wrestle with our deepest longings and yearnings. Are you willing to wrestle with an angel? Recently, I went to go see Part 2 of Angels in America by Tony Kushner. Some of you might remember the play from the late 1990s, how it chronicled the AIDS epidemic, a time of devastating tragedy. Since the epidemic began in 1983, some 300,000 men who have sex with other men have died from AIDS in the US alone. Of course, AIDS is not exclusively a gay male disease, but in the US, it was the one community that was most associated with it. The play dramatizes the urgency given to the question of homosexuality and the closet. As members of the gay community forced themselves to be upfront and vocal about their health, the closet became a place of death, an ever-changing and ever-present danger. Evil was described as the closet of lies that led to the destruction of many thousands of innocent lives. Here, the beautiful messenger was a disease that forced the transformation of millions of gay men who were trying to avoid the stigma of living a homosexual lifestyle. They had to wrestle with this unexpected angel, even though they never asked for it. Some might say there is nothing beautiful about the AIDS story. But then they might also want to limit who gay people can be and limit why the AIDS story was so necessary and transformative. During the AIDS crisis, the message of transforming hope that we are enough slipped past our awareness because the event was so tragic. Yet we did know there was a larger message here, provided we were willing to look for it. Today, the world is gathering to commemorate World AIDS Day. This annual event serves to remind us that we must remain steadfast in our commitment to prevent new HIV infections and provide essential services to all people living with HIV globally. So that beautiful angel back there, she is reminding us to think a little bit about that as we gather today. So how do I begin with a play like Angels in America? The play challenges us to accept the idea that change and transformation are knowable, that angels are real, and that hallucinations and dreams may be just the one place where we learn more than we might have ever imagined that gay men could be out loud and proud, provided that they did the work of wrestling with their own acceptance by asking others to acknowledge who they are. Having lived through that time, I remember how painfully difficult it was to accept the transformation that was being thrust upon me by this disease. It seemed like there was no place to hide or to be safe. It's hard to appreciate what gay life was like back then. So much has changed. But we do know that the collective outing of gay men during the 1990s did change the direction of AIDS. Some of you might remember the play's subtitle, A Gay Fantasia on National Themes. As you might expect, every fantasy lets go of normal realism. When Jacob in the Old Testament wrestled with the angel, that was a prophetic fantasy. We may not know exactly what the Old Testament story was supposed to mean, but we do know how important it feels. Bless me, Jacob cries. That's why a fantasy can be so challenging. We have to wrestle with it. Indeed, the idea of wrestling with the angel is heavily linked to the play's action. Prior and the angel who comes down from heaven, they do wrestle. In our first reading, Harper and Prior run into each other inside a shared hallucination. This is a coming out, but neither one can fully make sense of what's going on. They understand themselves, but are they understood? If the world changes as it does when they hallucinate, are they supposed to change with it? Can you know yourself while you are busy changing who you are to yourself just to be understood? Harper and Pryor have an exchange. In my church, I don't believe in homosexuals, says Harper. In my church, we don't believe in Mormons, says Pryor. The two beliefs cancel each other out. And here Kushner points out the limiting nature of our beliefs. Harper even laughs at the idea that she was being canceled. Harper then describes how her mind should not be able to make up anything that wasn't there to start with. To which Pryor agrees by saying, "It's all been done before." They both agree that imagination is limited, but then so too are their beliefs. Wrestling with an angel means pushing past our default limitations to discover the new and more resilient place of our own acceptance. Can we be calm and centered and accept what is most needed? So what I hope you take away from that first scene is how imagination and belief are the two drives that enable understanding and change. We only feel blessed when imagination and belief give us what we want, even when we don't know exactly what that might be. In our second reading between Harper and Mormon Mother, who was the mannequin in the diorama at the Mormon Visitor Center in New York, Harper asks, "How do people change?" Mannequins normally don't talk back, but why let reality get in the way of a good story, right? The mannequin's answer is an astonishing gift that highlights just how hard it is to change. If wrestling with an angel is necessary for gaining a blessing, and if God is reaching in and squeezing your gut so hard that you cannot even speak, and then leaving you with the job of sewing yourself back up together, and is that too a blessing? Yes, I think it is. Being challenged to be greater than you have been is always going to be gut-wrenching. And no one can tell you how to do it, but it always comes from wrestling with something more essential than you have ever imagined. So the change and transformation are knowable, but they always come at a great cost. And it's only when we reshuffle the balance between our imagination and beliefs that we discover the true magnitude of that cost. To look more carefully at what that cost requires of us, let me go to the opening speech of Kushner's play in Part 2. This is just a short excerpt. At the very beginning, we discover a character who is described as the world's oldest living Bolshevik. He's addressing the party congress in Russia on the eve of a tremendous change. He says, "The great question before us is, are we doomed? The great question before us is, will the past release us? The great question before us is, can we change in time?" And we all desire that change will come. And theory? How are we to proceed without a theory? What system of thought have these reformers to present to this maddening swirl of planetary disorganization, to the inevident welter of fact, event, circumstance, and phenomenon? And what have you, Americans, to offer now of this theory? What have you to offer in its place? Market incentives? American cheeseburgers? If the snake sheds his skin before a new skin is ready, naked he will be in the world, prey to the forces of chaos. Without his skin, he will be dismantled, lose coherence, and die. Have you, my little serpents, a new skin? Now, our Bolshevik friend is certainly not a conventional angel, not like the one behind me. But I think what he sets up is the same revelation that every angel offers: the chance to start again, to live without any front-of-mind theory, without the imagination and belief that explains and positions everything before we even arrive. Think about that. We have just gone through the turbulence of a political process that short-circuited both our imagination and beliefs. We were completely fluximed by the election's result. We are like that generation of gay men who are struggling to make sense of their own self-acceptance in the face of AIDS. Can we be calm and centered and accept what is most needed? The magnitude of cost here is a kind of death which only our imagination and belief can make real. How do we shed our skin? When God or the divine reaches in and squeezes our guts so hard that we listen harder and longer to what's going on. The problem is the voice we listen to most often is just a theory. It's the explaining voice that stands in the way of the presence we might be to others who are also reaching out to us. We do not choose to wrestle with the angel. I'm reminded of a phrase that might be familiar to you. Nothing is as it seems, because you only repeat what you know. This phrase can be attributed to the Dalai Lama. It suggests that our pre-existing beliefs and biases can limit our perception of reality, and that by listening to others, that can help us see things differently. Theory is not phenomenon. The map is not the terrain. The word is just a representation without a point of view, and nobody's memory is destiny, because the past does not control the future. We can only build that together by wrestling with our better angels. Presence is a beautiful messenger and comes bearing a gift. However, the angel often slips past our awareness. And yes, we do know the angel's message, even when we choose not to listen. And somewhere in those lost moments of fuzzy half-awareness, we just might find a future blessing that is waiting exactly for us. A blessing we might learn to accept, just like that angel behind me. Please join with me now in our closing hymn, number 318, We Would Be One.
Please join us after service for coffee hour in the parish hall, or if you're on Zoom, please join us for a breakout room. But first, before coffee, just a few announcements. First, if you're interested in hearing more about the UU Service Committee's Guest at Your Table campaign that I discussed last week, please come see me during coffee hour. Also, as we begin Advent, we start looking toward Christmas celebrations that we celebrate here at TPC. A big tradition of this is poinsettias as memorials for those lives that we have lost to disease, to age, to many causes, those spirits that live on in us. You can donate either through TPC Talks to order and give the names, or the link will be in our newsletter this week. If you have any other questions, please email the office. And finally, I'd like to invite Allison Bayer up to discuss our Christmas collection. Oh, no. Too many Allisons. Allison Gottlieb, I apologize.
You can never have too many Allisons. So, as we welcome the Advent season, it's time to consider which social justice organization will receive our Christmas Eve collection plate donation. We do this every year. So this year, Deb Ferenz, Ruth Kahn, and myself will collect your suggestions and announce the organization during an upcoming service. And so here's how the process works. Let us know your preference for a specific social justice organization and send it to the three of us, or at least to one of us, no later than December 8th. And please include your choice. The choice has to be a 501(c) nonprofit social justice organization. We need to know the organization's mission statement and let us know why you think this organization should be chosen this year. And this week, you'll receive an invitation to suggest our donor organization via TPC Talks and in the newsletter. And this has to be, yes, we need to get these by December 8th. You can also put it on a piece of paper and give it to one of us in coffee hour today. So, thank you.
Here are the words of our closing benediction. Look to this day, for it is life, the very life of life. In its brief course lie all the verities and realities of your existence, the bliss of growth, the glory of action, the splendor of achievement, are but experiences of time. For yesterday is but a dream, and tomorrow is only a vision. And today, well lived, makes yesterday a dream of happiness, and every tomorrow a vision of hope. Look well, therefore, to this day. Such is the salvation of the ever-present new dawn. Kiko will close us out with Minuet number 2 by J.S. Bach.